So I have a very deep issue with anybody coming in my comment section and calling Black people racist. Now, I feel like this is a perception issue and an internalized racism issue. Black people lack the power to be racist. There are not enough Black people in power for there to be a power structure of Black racism against white people. Our system is set up against Black and brown people. It's set up for us. This is where white privilege comes into play. We have white privilege because we're white, because we live in a power structure that is geared towards helping white people, lifting up white people, and absolutely crushing anyone who is not white. The Black community has never stopped me from getting a job. There is no mass incarceration of white people. There's no underfunding of the education system of white people, except maybe in poor communities, because our system also loves to punish the poor, which is why they keep Black and brown people redlined in the ghettos and underfund their education. Without a proper education, it is very hard to succeed. But also, I saw this clip of Minister Farrakhan. I believe he was on Donahue, for those who are old enough to remember Donahue. And he made such a good point. A white woman has stood up and said that she feels what they fear is violence from the Black community. Violence from the vicious truth that Minister Farrakhan was speaking. Violence. And his response to her was, Black people don't have a history of being violent to white people. They don't have a history of murdering white people. They don't have a history of genocide. They don't have a history of chattel enslavement. They don't have a history of buck breaking. They don't have a history of mass incarceration of white people. They don't have a history of redlining white people. They don't have a history of doing any of the shit that we did. That's our history. And we project onto the Black community everything that our community has done to them. We call them violent, even though have you ever heard the song Strange Fruit? If you have not, please, I can't think of who sings it off the top of my head, and that is a shame, but there is a song called Strange Fruit. If anyone knows the singer, please put it in my comment section, or I'll look it up and I'll put it in. Literally hung Black people so much that a woman made a song about how Black bodies hanging from trees are strange fruit. We burned their bodies in the middle of the fucking street for nothing more than them being Black. Black codes, voter suppression, Jim fucking Crow, deconstruction of Reconstruction, the Tulsa Massacre, Redwood, Axe Handle Saturday. Look up the massacres that took place. I believe it was North Carolina, when Black people were thriving and they were getting into political positions and they were voting and they were involved. They destroyed that town. White people destroyed that town. White supremacy destroyed it. Anytime Black people have tried to get a leg up and become successful, white supremacy has destroyed it to this fucking day. We literally just acknowledged Juneteenth as a federal holiday 2 years ago. Most people didn't know about Juneteenth until 2 years ago. And we are whitewashing their history. We are trying to erase their history, their pain, their struggle, their truth, because of what we did. Because our parents and our grandparents don't want us to know the atrocities that they committed. Now all of a sudden white people want to act civil, like we got some sense, like we're not barbaric, like we're not fucking animals. All of a sudden white people just forgot how bad racism was and is. All of a sudden now white people have the fucking caucasity to call Black people racist. If the Black community, any member of the Black community that hates white people, and there are actually a lot fewer than you might think, most of the Black community is loving, caring. They will embrace you. They will love you. They do not hate. I've lived in a Black community for a couple decades now. I've never received any hate I've had conversations. I've had people ask me questions, but I've never been beaten up because I was white. I've never been anything worse because I'm white. I've never experienced any form of racism from a black person. But don't you feel like the black community has every right to hate us? Don't you honestly feel, if you look at our history, if you look at what we have done and continue to do you not think that the black community has every fucking right to despise us just based on our history? We want to believe that they're violent, that they're a bunch of gangbangers, that they're criminals and rapists and thugs because of what we see on the news, which is propaganda, but we want to completely bypass our actual fucking history of barbarism, being barbaric, of brutality, of violence, of rape, of genocide. But then when I look at the black community, like, what's your problem? You need to get over it. But if that's the case, then fuck 9/11, fuck Pearl Harbor, fuck Memorial Day, fuck Independence Day, fuck 1776, fuck all that shit. If you want black people to get over the atrocities that took place for fucking centuries and still continues to this day, then fuck you and every fucking white holiday and white don't forget bullshit. Fuck all of that. Until black pain, black struggle, black history is recognized, I refuse to recognize any of that other shit because it doesn't fucking matter. Black people cannot be racist. They can be prejudiced if you want to call it that, but in my opinion, they have every fucking right to hate us. And I am shocked that more black people don't hate us than actually do. Because if I'm being honest, there's a big part of me that hates us for what we've done. There's a big part of me that's fucking enraged at us because of what we have done to them. I can't find anything, nothing historically that black people have done to white people that could possibly make me hate them or think that they're violent or animalistic like we are.
One of the fundamental aspects of